Hello, this is Phil, the Worship Survival Guy, with a special April message openly addressing depression in ministry. Why? Because it comes up in nearly 100% of the folks that I hear from. Solomon said, "Anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad." Picture that. Pressure and stress cause depression, but a good word lifts us up. Given enough heavy layers of snow, even the strongest roof is going to cave in. Many of us need a good word. I've seen the other side of depression. It's a good land, flowing with milk and honey, and we can overcome the giants of depression. A teenager with a slingshot can take out one of those giants. Why? Because God is with us. We've been focusing for months on worship pastors, directors, leaders, but recently I've been blown away at the epidemic of stress and depression among Christian leaders in general. 3 points. First, our depression is sadly ironic. We're evangelists. We bring the good news, the good word, freedom, sight to the blind. We bind up broken hearts, good news to the poor. Our flag should be joy. Second, we've caught depression like a disease. The World Health Organization projects that by the year 2030, depression will be more destructive in life, health, and productivity than all the diseases, accidents, and wars combined. A new Black Death. And hearts are failing for fear. The healers are being infected. Stress, anxiety, depression. It's taking out Christian leaders at epidemic rates. If you don't know this, do some study. Third, Jesus provided us with full disclosure. He said we were signing up for lethal work. So the demands on us for performance and leadership, they're insane. Impossible expectations and comparisons. And daily we're immersed in the details of human suffering, and we do all of this in a pagan culture that's openly hostile to the gospel. Ministry is a dangerous calling. It always was. We don't get a free pass to the other side of depression without taking the subject seriously. Every shepherd is vulnerable. Stress manifests. Don't play whack-a-mole with it. I promised you a good word, though. I'll share an old tool that brought me some clarity about depression. You probably already know Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief. In her hospice work, she saw a repeated pattern. Let's review those 5 stages. Denial is the initial human response to a loss or a setback. Listen to your own voice say it. Are you kidding? That's not possible. Is this a joke? Sadly, denial is butter and reality is a knife. Our next response is anger. Again, hear your own voice. This is just plain wrong. Whose fault is this? Ooh, it doesn't take long for a saint to remember that everything that comes into our lives has been stamped and approved at God's desk. And being mad at God is counterproductive. Bargaining is the next stage, but it's difficult to negotiate with an incoming meteor. That brings us to the 4th stage of grief, depression. Brother Charles uses the term funk loop. We don't like depression, so we go back to the pointless denial, the futile anger, the silly bargaining, and slide exhausted back into the slough of despair. We can stay depressed for years. We can die there. Many do. Punchline coming. Many of us think we're depressed, but don't realize we're stuck in grief. Kubler-Ross's final stage of grief is acceptance. It's both fascinating and it's easy to misunderstand. Acceptance is not resigning yourself to a fate of living in a septic tank of hopelessness. God has a much better strategy. Acceptance involves facing the extent of your loss, your grief. You look the pain in the eye. What did you lose? What was taken from you? Now we go to God and we mourn that loss. We tell him it hurts. Mourning is humbling, but it's so human. What did Jesus say happens when we mourn? We're comforted. When we honestly mourn, we arrive at the only place of hope. It's where our comforting Savior restores us at the deepest level. He shares his own broken flesh, his cleansing blood, and the new life that he gives us. Jesus is the good word that lifts us up and gives us new strength. We discover that, we're pressed, but not crushed. As leaders, this allows us to comfort others with the comfort with which we've been comforted. That awkward passage in 2 Corinthians may be the most beautiful in the whole Bible. Wounded healers we are. Acceptance, mourning, comfort. From there, we can serve those around us, and we can do so from the other side of depression. Let's go there together. I'm Phil at worshipsurvivalguy.com. Use the form there and get in touch. Write "other side" in the comment section, and I'll get back to you extra quick. Discreetly, no charge. I'd love to meet you on the other side of depression.